Now that you have your new account created, the next step is to actually add your students into your class. So with this being a blog that is for your class, once you are signed in, again, you need to sign in as the administrator, the teacher account that you've made. If you click on Control Panel or when you sign in, if it takes you directly to your dashboard, from this point you can click on Users at the very top of your dashboard. So again, the dashboard is kind of your home page of the blog. If I click on Users, at this point I can go in and add any users that I would like. So this would be the part that I would add all of my students. So you've got some options here where right now it's displaying all the users. You can see if I click on your profile, it's going to show my profile here. So if I wanted to change my display name to something different, at this point I can log in and access this and change it. So depending on how you signed up, if you would like to change your display name, this is where you can do it. Again, I'm going to go back to all users. You can see right now it shows who the user is, so I put myself in, the email address that's associated with it, plus the role that this person has. So if I click to add a new user, at this point I can choose to add in my student. I've used initials, I've also used first names before. I've also had students just come up with their own name. It's however you decide that you would like to use student names. Again, you just got to be careful with what you're using. It's important to talk to students about kind of being a digital citizen and safety while they're on the internet. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and just enter myself as Mr. F, and then I'll go ahead and give myself a password. And then at this point I can assign myself to be a student, an administrator, teacher, moderator, or guest. So at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as student. So I would click add new user, and again you can see it pops up and say that you have a new user added, which is Mr. F. Now if I go back and click on all users, again now you can see exactly who all is in your page or who is on your blog. So I've got myself, that is the administrator. I have Mr. F that I just created, who is a student. Now you can see I'm still logged in at the very top as myself, so I'm logged in as the administrator. I just created this student's blog, so Mr. F as a student would have his own blog. Now if I wanted to go through and I wanted to keep adding a new user, I could go in and add a new user. So let's say this would be student 1. Go ahead and enter a password, leave the role set as student, click add new user. So you can see again now I have student 1. You can see all of the users again. Now I have student 1, I have myself, Mr. F, and then I also have myself logged in as the administrator. Now if you want to choose to add a lot of users all at one time, click on bulk create users, which gives you the option to kind of go through and add them in bulk if you have numerous students. I found it just as easy to go just to add new users since I don't have that many students in my class. But if you have multiple sections of students and you need to add lots of accounts, bulk create users would probably be the best option for you. Now one thing I want to point out just to wrap this up on how to add students to your class, if I click on my blog itself to see it live, if I go down you can see now that I have myself still as administrator, but now I have my two students here, Mr. F and then student 1. If I click on either of their names, it will take me to their blog. So you can see here this is Mr. F's blog, and then if I went back and I clicked on student 1, this is all of the information that student 1 has put onto the blog. So I'm going to go back to my control panel. Just like I was able to see my profile, again if I find my users, it's at the user tab at the very top. If I click on users, I have the option to see my students here. Now I see that at the top it says your profile. If I actually click on the student's picture, so let's do student 1, if I clicked on that student's picture, it will give me that student's profile. So from there I can change that student's profile name, I can change their blog title. If the student wants to do this, they can do this as well, but you kind of have administrator privileges, so you can go in and critique all this stuff and make the changes that you want. If you want to add their email in there, you may do that. You can also change the theme of their blog. You can choose the visibility of it, so you can change how it will show up, whether it will show up or not. And then when you're all done making your changes, you'll just need to update the user. So again, that's a way to go in and kind of manage your students, to add your students into your class, as well as to kind of go in and change their profile information. if you log out, this is what you'll see as a login page every time that you go to this blog that you've created to log in. Now that I've added some students, you'll see that I have those students' names from the drop-down menu. So instead of having to type in their username, they'll just have to find their name, and then they'll have to enter the password. And then they'll be able to log in as a student. So again, you can see now I'm logged in as a student. If I click on dashboard as a student, I am not an administrator anymore, so I don't have all of those options to moderate stuff. But I do have the chance to go in and create a new post, review any of the posts that I've made, review my comments, as well as, again, the student can go in and change their profile information, change their design if they would like. So again, that's how to go ahead and set up your class list and add your students so that each of them have their own blog.